like the nice, pretty scenery. I tried closing it out, and it did open back up, and I was jumping cell phone towers again, so it ended up dropping. So, but North Pole, I do appreciate that advice. I do think it helped, but I did get booted. So I've just driven up Turnagain Pass from Turnagain Arm, going south from Anchorage. This is Summit Lake. It is actually still frozen. I should get my survival suits to come up here, see if we can't swim across it. It'd be kind of fun, breaking ice. We actually used to have to swim in frozen ice in the Coast Guard. When you're an aviator, you have to pass a swim test every year. And the swim test involves, you jump in water, no big deal. You gotta swim 100 yards, but the 100 yards, you're in full flight gear. So you got your flight helmet, flight suits, boots, about 20 pounds of extra gear. And you have to swim all around the pool that 100 yards and tread water for 5 to 10 minutes. Depends on who the rescue swimmer is. Then you get in a chair and they dunk you around in the chair, you have to escape. But for the fixed wings, you've got to put on a survival suit, and you got to go break ice and swim out to a raft that the swimmers will put out on the ice. And you kind of got to stabilize it, get all the air crew into the raft, usually training. But I'll have to get that survival suit up here and maybe go try to swim in that lake later. Alright, thanks for North Pole. I closed everything out. I did not realize you could go back into YouTube and the stream would still work. So that's kind of neat, but then everything locked up and freaked out. How long have you been doing YouTube, Katie? I gotta say thank you, North Pole. I've been lurking around your channel about a year. And this winter, when you were outside trying to exercise on your negative 40 degree I did not realize the signal. Get back down below the freeze line a little bit. Should start picking up a little more of a signal. Now, when you're flying planes through here, the tops of these mountains are dangerous. We call those clouds up there cumulogranite, because you got the cumulo clouds with a vertical build, and they're sitting right around the mountain, and it's made of granite. So when you try to fly through it, you get there before the crash crew. This is a big avalanche area. It's the main junction on the Seward Highway, and it's where the Seward Highway splits. And if you go west, you're going to go toward Sterling, Soldotna, Kenai, Homer. If you go south, you're going to go down to Resurrection Bay and Seward. Resurrection Bay has a big history with World War II. It's always covered, and the weather's just gray and gloomy, basically 350 days out of the year. So when World War II happened, they knew it was a nice hidden base, and they dug a tunnel through a mountain, and it's actually the longest tunnel in North America, just around 2 miles. It takes about 15 minutes to drive through. It's kind of a cool experience, but it's a one-lane road, and the train shares the same road as cars do. So the tunnel's open 30 minutes for one direction, 30 minutes for the other direction, and then the train always has priority. So if you're trying to get through and the train's coming through, you're just out of luck. Because once the train goes through, it fills the tunnel up with smoke, and they've got to wait 15 minutes, I believe, in order for the carbon monoxide and diesel exhaust to get out of the tunnel. So we just got off the Seward Highway, and we are heading west toward Soldotna. The first town coming up is going to be Cooper Landing. And I guess this will be the old Sterling Highway in about a year, because I'm going to bypass to go around Cooper Landing. Hello. My bad. 60 miles to go to get to Soldotna. We're coming out of the pass from Anchorage, came over Turnagain Pass, and we're on the Kenai Peninsula now, but the Kenai Peninsula is turning into an island. It's moving away from the mainland Alaska at a rate of 2 inches a year. There's a body of water on both sides of where the peninsula is cracking off, with the river flowing over it. So we're slowly moving away, and this is going to be an island before too long. Had a really big fire out here a few years ago. Burned a lot of the Cooper Landing area. They called it the Swan Lake Fire. We are on the Sterling Highway, just came down from Anchorage. We're heading toward Cooper Landing right now. This is the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. If you look at a map of Alaska, you go right in the middle of Alaska all the way down south of Anchorage. That's the Kenai Peninsula. The main cities on it are Seward, Homer, and Kenai. We only got 2 roads, but it's a Y. Here in about 30 minutes, we are going to be taking the east turn off to go towards Ski Lac Lake. It is a washed out road that you can't really travel on in the spring until they rebuild it, but I'm going to chance it. I'll probably lose the signal for a minute. There's one little patch where you drop down a hill, and I'll have to restart the stream on the other side. But it should be a little bit of an adventure. It'll take us about an hour to make it around a 20-mile road. Depending on how treacherous it is. Sorry, Shaggy, I'm only going to Kenai. We just ran up to Anchorage and got that car that's up in front of us. We had a couple moose sit on our family van back in January, and insurance finally got us a little bit, which is kind of messed up. So we got State Farm, and they compared our Nissan Envy to one van in Montana and one van in California, and said they gave us a fair market value. Which they must not be from Alaska, because they don't know how vehicles work up here. Jack, if I was heading to Sealoft, I'd definitely offer to work something out with you. When I first moved up to Alaska, it was 2004, and I was driving this road, and a lot of it was gravel at the time. And 4 or 5 months later, I think Ted Stevens went down across the inlet over there, just west of the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. So we ended up spending the next 3 or 4 days flying around all these snow-capped mountains trying to look for that crash. Unfortunately, the crew passed away, and then they named the Ted Stevens Airport after him. When you fly in these canyons, especially with the flat light where the white snow blends in with the clouds, it changes the whole game of flying in this mess. Shaggy, what part of the peninsula are you closest to, or what town, if you're comfortable saying? Yeah, it got up to about 124. I don't know if it's lagging. This was one of the shots I was hoping to get. It's Kenai Lake, and it's always gorgeous. You can never drive by this area and it looked the same twice. I did just dump towers again, so I got a full signal. Part of this live stream is seeing where the new holes are this season. Every year they add a little more, one more tower and increase signal a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's doing too good. That's what I love about this trip. I mean, I was Coast Guard aviator and then bush pilot, flying around the West Coast, and just the scenery that's out there is it's breathtaking. And being fortunate enough to be in this environment, I don't think I'll ever get used to it. The winter driving is some of the funnest. It's always an adventure. I prepare for like it's a survival situation every time. I'll take a couple gallons of water, warm gear. Now this bypass is coming along pretty quick. They're already starting to pave a little bit, so it won't be long before Cooper Landing has this bypass going around. And I can't really see the chat right now, not with the sun glare. That's the start of the bypass. The road will just curve around. It'll go up the mountain to the west side of the Kenai River, and then rejoin a couple miles to the west. Sorry, I'm being blinded by the sun right now, so I can't really talk and chat much. At least it's not snowy and icy. When it is snowy and icy and the sun's where it's at right now, you can't see a thing. It just reflects off of everything. You get snow blindness. The natives really had, they were really onto something with the bones with little slits in them. They definitely help. I used to fly over the YK Delta, and I would use little slit glasses in order to see. When it's cloudy out there during the winter, it just all blends. You can't tell up from down, left to right. It's just like flying in the twilight zone. It's really weird. Oh, 2012, what brought you up here? I was stationed in Panama City Beach and then went to aviation school with the Coast Guard. Got stationed here in 2004. Ended up leaving in 2006 with Clearwater, Florida, and then came back up here in 2010. Left again in 2013 after an accident. They flew me to Navy Medical in Virginia to get rebuilt, and some paperwork dropped, and they signed workforce reduction. So anybody who is sick, lame, or weak was going to get med boarded. So I ended up fighting that and made it to retirement. So after retirement, bought a place up here on the Kenai in 2018 and been here ever since. And I've actually never lived anywhere longer than 4 years. So being somewhere now for 8 years is the weirdest thing to me ever. Being a military brat growing up and then joining the military, it's just you're always moving every 2 to 4 years. Oh, that was the Kenai River we just went over. The Kenai Lake is on the left, and the bridge is the line for the river. So if anybody ever comes up here to go rafting, most people put in right around here, and then they'll raft down to Ski Lac Lake. Yeah, One thing that is nice about the Kenai is you are connected to a road system. Living offshore in the North Pacific on Kodiak or like out on the Aleutian chain, like when you don't have access to life, that changes things. So Kenai hasn't been too bad. Bought our place sight unseen. We were in Yellowstone when we bought the house. Right up here in about a mile, there was a big landslide 2 years ago after the fires. This whole area burned. They were able to save the community, but just the other side of these trees is completely burned. It was called the Swan Lake Fire. And Shaggy, I don't know if you care about any of this. I'm just more rambling, practicing my, my monologue for future content creation. But yeah, if you're up here in 2012, you were here for the Swan Lake Fire. Did you get a chance to drive through it while it was burning? That was intense. I mean, fire's burning right there next to the road, and you're just driving down it. They had some fire trucks going down on the opposite lane, spraying cars down to cool them down. It was just like another day. And yes, Shaggy, way too many politics here. We were actually attacked on our property in 2023. A guy threatened to shoot me and my kids. So I called the troopers and stood by my vehicle with an unloaded toy and ended up getting arrested for a DUI and assault. I was a certified sharpshooter by the DHS in the Coast Guard and used enough force to overcome the opposing force. Everybody is still alive. But yeah, that was 1,000 days ago, and I'm still in pre-trial, waiting on that. I've never even had a speeding ticket. I was just defending my kids when the guy said he was going to shoot us. So it's definitely the Wild West, and the whole Kenai corruption and the grand jury stuff is an absolute political mess. But I mean, if I've got just a minor charge like assault, and I'm backlogged 1,000 days, what are the other people who actually have serious crimes and are innocent? Like, how is it affecting them? Because they've destroyed my background check. I can't get a job. I can't volunteer at my kids' school to help them out. And yeah, it was actually Trooper Woodruff. He's in jail for falsifying paperwork and abuse of power for an autistic guy in Kasilof. I had complained about him, and then 6 months later, he got arrested. But yeah, it's pre-trials. I was never arraigned. You know, they took me to jail that night, and you know, $500 bond. I got out, no paperwork. A week later, this guy comes back to my property and pulls up to my house, cuts a donut in my driveway, and sprays me with rocks. I call the troopers, and the troopers come back, and they arrest me for court order violation because I was too close to this guy. I'm like, he came on my property, assaulted me again. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Definitely some lessons being learned. It was a Woodruff. He's if you Google ex-trooper, ex-Alaska trooper Woodruff, his case is getting silenced and swept under the rug. He was supposed to be tried in February, but it just disappeared. They upgraded his charges to some federal charges now. He was definitely one of those bad cops I used to not get along with. Which being Coast Guard, we had a lot of interactions with Alaska State Troopers, and they have some personalities to be desired, and they're on a power trip. So I don't regret working with them, but definitely have to be cautious around them. I have not met too many good Alaska Troopers who actually care. It's kind of unfortunate. I did enjoy my time working with them. I flew some out to, I think it was Shimia. Is there Shimia or Attu? They